So Ilhan Omar has been caught scamming again, this time funneling taxpayer money into her husband's company.
Accusations of fraud against a business partly owned by Representative Omar's husband. Fox 9's Corin Hogger joins us now in the newsroom after digging into what's behind this legal fight. All right, Corin, what is Omar's connection to these accusations?
Karen, it's nothing directly. Her husband is Tim Minette, and his consulting firm legally got about $3 million from her 2020 campaign. Now he's a business partner in a few business ventures that are involved in lawsuits claiming his companies have made money disappear. In the case of Tim Minette, whose LinkedIn page shows he was a partner in the E Street Group along with Will Haler, there's no publicly known criminal investigation. But there may be something behind the scenes.
We have connected with federal law enforcement on this. I believe that they're looking into it as we speak.
Ned Horsted is the CEO of a South Dakota cannabis company that gave Haler and Minette's company $3.5 million to kickstart investments, but ended up with about $1.8 million back and a court judgment, an IOU for the other $1.7 million. Omar's office tells me she has no involvement in any business ventures, and the situation reeks of political desperation.
If you have a two-person business and one of them is a spouse of a member of Congress, it seems suspicious, to say the least, that they never knew about $3.5 million that came into the bank account. They never knew that 1.7 went missing.
The lawyers for Minette and Haler say they absolutely did not intend to defraud anyone in that cannabis business or in a winery deal that's also the subject of a civil lawsuit.
Okay, so this is just Ilhan Omar scamming again. Now, if you followed the breadcrumbs of Ilhan Omar scamming, now, you know, I shared some content on here that Benny Johnson had broke the story about that fake winery, all right, that they had that is literally worth like millions of dollars, okay, allegedly. Then also, there was a journalist that went to the building that is apparently supposed to hold Ilhan Omar's company or whatever in D.C. and found like literally nobody there, right? So now you have the scammer husband, all right, of Ilhan Omar that is now defrauding people that have invested in his company out of millions. The millions that he got to found his company came from Ilhan Omar's campaign contributions, which they're going to tell you is quote unquote legal. So if you don't understand how this works, if you do not understand that Democrats like Ilhan Omar and AOC and the like have been pretty much scamming the federal government and also scamming their donors to the tune of millions for years and years and years, you will just never get it. And the sad thing about all of this, and this is why I try not to get blackpilled about this stuff, but this stuff comes out over and over and over again. The fraud comes out over and over and over again. We get so much facts and so much data about the levels of fraud that an Ilhan Omar has been committing literally for the years that she's been in Congress, and yet and still nothing is ever done about this. Remember, the swamp gathered to protect itself when I believe it was Nancy Mace that was trying to get Ilhan Omar hauled in for questioning, and everybody said no. So this is what's happening. It's a system that protects itself. It is a system that is fundamentally corrupt. And by the way, it's not just Democrats doing this, because if it were just Democrats, then, you know, maybe somebody would have handled it. But I think that everybody in the swamp eats off of corruption like this.
Welcome to Keyshaws Watch. Today, I have a very interesting story. I mean, this story is trending right now in America because it looks like every turn, everywhere you go, you see Ilhan Omar investigation, Ilhan Omar's husband, Ilhan Omar. Everywhere is Ilhan Omar, as if she's the only congresswoman. I mean, some are saying that it's because of the post that she owed. I mean, a public holder, holder, and too much is given and much is expected. It looks like everyone is trying to just dig her past, the history she's had, how she got married to a younger brother for citizenship, how she has been spending money, how the money that was given to her for campaign. Some are saying that she moved the money into her husband's business. Some are saying that a lot of money has been siphoned into Minnesota and that she can't claim to be unaware. All of this is what has cost this, and it looks like the pressure is really high on her. Anyway, guys, welcome to my channel. Like I said, subscribe, like, and share. And of course, every content belongs to original creator, and I'm giving credit to them. So, guys, let's go dive in. When I come back, we'll continue the conversation. I'll be right back.
We obviously had people who were able to donate to our campaign that were involved. We sent that money back a couple of years ago. And actually, I was one of the first members of Congress to send a letter to the Secretary of Eg asking them to look into what I thought was a reprehensible fraud that was occurring within the program.
So this was, just for our audience, the Biden-era Justice Department called it the largest COVID fraud scheme in the country. And this was pocketing COVID-era welfare funds, more than $1 billion in taxpayer money that was stolen. It was pretty shocking. Of the 87 people charged, all but 8 are of Somali descent. And that has added to the spotlight being put specifically on your community. Why do you think this fraud was allowed to get so widespread?
Well, I want to say, this also has an impact on Somalis because we are also taxpayers in Minnesota. We also could have benefited from the program and the money that was stolen. And so it's been really frustrating for people to not acknowledge the fact that we're also, as Minnesotans, as taxpayers, really upset and angry about the fraud that has occurred.
Mm-hmm. So do you think, though, that there was a failure by the Democratic state government to police itself? This is a brazen, fraudulent activity here.
Yeah, and that is what I alluded to in my letter that I'd sent to the Secretary of Eg, was to see where things were going wrong. How can this amount of money disappear fraudulently without there being alarms being set off? And it is something that, we have to continue to investigate. We have to continue to ask those questions.
Because, as you know, one of the initial defenses by the organization at the heart of the fraud, Feeding Our Future, was to claim the probe was due to racism. Do you think that this was all about negligence, or that it was like political fear of alienating the Somali community?
So you have to remember that the woman who led the program is a Caucasian woman. And that was her way of making sure that this would continue to happen by using whatever rhetoric that was available to her. We do know that when the money was stopped, they did sue.
Talk about Ilhan Omar and Tim Walz.
Exactly.
And obviously, Ilhan Omar, the president and the White House have been out saying she married her brother, that there is immigration fraud going on here. These are deportable denaturalization offenses. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, so we actually think that Ilhan Omar definitely committed immigration fraud against the United States of America. And I talked to Stephen Miller about this actually recently. We're trying to look at what the remedies are. That's the thing that we're trying to figure out, is what are the legal remedies now that we know that she's committed immigration fraud? How do you go after her? How do you investigate her? How do you actually do the thing? How do you build the case necessary to get some justice for the American people? There's a related issue, Benny, which is she has been at the center of a lot of the worst fraudsters in the Somalian community. So do I know that Ilhan Omar was aware that the Quality Leering Center was defrauding the American people? I'm not certain of it, but we at least need to investigate it, because if people can commit wrongdoing without even the fear that they're going to be found out, that's a fundamental problem. So I'm worried about the immigration fraud. I'm also worried about, what did Ilhan Omar know about what was happening in the Somali community, and why was nobody looking into it until, frankly, Donald Trump came along?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, allegedly, the marriage certificate for Ilhan Omar has been released from the White House. Now, we're going to speak on alleged, because I told you guys this, and I didn't want to report on this until I had more information that could make this solidified, or whatever the case is, because I do not like spreading misinformation, all right? I like to go with the facts. That's what investigative journalism is. So listen, I'm still going down a rabbit hole about this, but allegedly, and I told you guys this before, Ilhan Omar, okay, Minnesota Senate, a woman in the government, a Somali native, married her brother, who came here from the UK, Somalian native, so that he could get citizenship in the United States. Now, her marriage certificate has just been released from the White House, or from a source. And they're saying that this is indeed her brother, which would indeed make this immigration fraud. However, you guys know in the Somalian community, it is not uncommon or an uncommon practice that they marry family members. Incest is a common practice in this culture. So this would be, but I'm sure if we say something about this, they're probably going to say we're being racist or it's a cultural thing. Why the fuck would you marry your brother for papers? I said what I said.
This is what happens to corrupt politicians when they finally get caught.
She wrote, my salary is $174,000 before taxes. I don't have stock or own a home, and I'm still paying off my student debt. So if you're going to lie on something that is public, maybe try checking my financial statements, and you will see I barely have thousands, let alone million. Well, people have checked the public records now. Ilhan Omar apparently has a net worth upwards of $30 million, somewhere between $60 and $30 million. And get this, it's because of companies run and owned by her husband, who in 2023 had a net worth of $51,000. In 1 year, that $51,000 grew from $6 to $30 million. What a good communist.
Welcome to my channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Q-Show's Watch. And I want to say thank you for all the likes, comments, subscribing. I am very grateful. I do not take your support for granted. Guys, I am grateful. Today we'll be talking about Ilhan Omar. There's been a lot of investigation, on her. And everything about her is being investigated. Starting her husband, the winery business, the consulting business, her marriage with her brother. During her campaign, she said that a lot of partners gave them money. And of course, the rule of campaign is that once people donate money for you and the money and the campaign is over, you must return all the money back. So now it looks like investigation is ongoing as to knowing whether she returned the money or that was the money she gave her husband. Because suddenly the business worth a lot of millions of dollars. The business worth a lot of millions of dollars. And they're like, how come? So investigation is trying to bring everything to light as to how she made her money. I mean, 2023, she just worth $51,000. And between 2023 and now, she worth over between $60 and $100 million. So people are saying, how can you be that rich suddenly? So they are saying that it's either the money was not properly returned to people and the money was moved into the business that was owned by her husband. So they are saying that that must be investigated. And of course, you know about the marriage to her brother. They said she brought her brother in for citizenship, which is against the homeland, immigration law. That is that. And they're also saying that the money that was moving out of the business of her husband, that she can't claim that she's unaware of it. So these and many more are the things that Ilhan Omar is being investigated for. And it looks like this investigation is never going to come to an end. I mean, Somali, investigation, Minnesota investigation is ongoing. A lot of people has been arrested and a lot is yet to be arrested because they said they want to get to the bottom of this investigation. You remember the last time when the president was giving a speech at the State of the Union, when he said that he has given the vice president the authority to set up a panel. Imagine the president giving an order concerning just one person. And I believe that this is a very serious case. That is why after that statement, you can see now that the husband is being investigated, not just for winery, firm alone. Now there's a consultative firm. You see, now all are past the money she's spending. They're saying, how did you get this money? I mean, it's a lot of money some in millions, some in hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this is actually causing a lot of, uproar, a lot of, people talking. They are saying that she must go. Americans are saying we don't want such a person. She's not even representing Americans' interest. And some are saying, oh, she has stepped on toes. She has done what she shouldn't have done. And some are saying that you can't speak to Mr. President in that manner and go scot free. All of these things are back and forth that is happening right now. And it looks like will she really escape? Will she get out of this? Well, anyway, I don't know. But I'm just here to bring different perceptions, views, so you guys can watch. And at the long run, you can give me your views. What do you think? I mean, that is what I'm here to do. So, credit belongs to the original creator of every content that stated in today's episode. And I want to say, if today is your first time, subscribe, like, and share. Make this video go viral. That's all I ask from you guys. Thank you for watching till now. Bye for now.